Sammy Gyamfi is National Communications Officer of the National Democratic Congress. Mr. Gyamfi, you're welcome to Eyewitness News. These persons have already been sworn in by the president after they were nominated in consultation with the Council of State. You are going to the Council of State to say that they should cancel or do a remarking of these men?
No, what we are asking the Council of State to do is to purge themselves of this sacrilege, this bastardization of a constitutionally independent electoral body. That is all the letter we have sent to the Council of State is intended to achieve. There are a number of steps that as a political party we intend to undertake to ensure that we rid the once revered Electoral Commission of such partisan characters, such as Dr. Pia Hene and Hejia Salima. But this is the first step in that, the first step on that list of activities that we intend to undertake. Because it is standard. The Council of State is a very important institution in our democratic system. It is apolitical, non-partisan, and they have a duty to advise the president on many important national issues. And therefore, in the discharge of their functions, they must be mindful of the national interest at all times. We want to give them the benefit of the doubt that maybe they were not privy to the facts we have adduced before then, in this letter, relative to the partisan inclinations of these new appointees into the Electoral Commission. But we believe that there are respectable patriots, senior statesmen in the Council of State who are minded by the fact that a good name is better than riches or any partisan consideration. And we look at the facts, we have presented them objectively, and make another judgment call on this matter. We will be very happy if, in the light of the new evidence we have put before them, they can tell the president that, look here, you asked for advice on these appointments. At the time, we were not privy to these facts. But based on this new evidence, we think that we got it wrong. We do not think that the appointment of these partisan characters into the Electoral Commission is proper. It doesn't bode well for our democracy and for public confidence in the Electoral Commission. And therefore, we advise that you reconsider, or moving on, we prevent some of these things from happening. Or if you have any influence on these appointees that you can bring to bear and ensure that they resign amicably, please do so. I believe that many well-meaning Ghanaians will be excited to know that we have such a responsible Council of State who at all times will uphold and protect the national interest.
Now, this thing you are inviting the National Council of Council of State to do, this invitation, is it grounded in law? So that what law would the Council of State be acting on? Per what the law dictates, their advice is sought by the president, they give that advice, and because of what the Supreme Court said recently, we know that even that advice is not really binding. So what do you want them to do? They can...
This is not, we are not talking law here. We are talking about, we are appealing, to the conscience of the Council of State. We are appealing to their judgment. They've made a judgment on this matter, the matter of the appointment.
Yes, so I'm saying that what will be the consequence of whatever they do? Should they write to the president and say, listen, we advise you, and we don't even know whether they said to the president to go ahead with these guys or not, because the Supreme Court...
That is why in the letter standard we say that we are proceeding on the assumption that the president acted appropriately by seeking the advice, and that advice was given in the affirmative related to these appointments. So it is an assumption we are making. If they didn't give that advice, I'm sure they will indicate so in their response to us. or if their advice was not sought at all, I'm sure they will indicate so, which will render these appointments unconstitutional.
So you want them to come out publicly and say to you what kind of advice they give to the president and whether they stand by that advice or they do not stand by that advice.
Exactly. That is one of the things we expect from them. But not just that. Beyond that, assuming that they supported or recommended the appointment of these persons, we are saying this is hard evidence relative to the partisan inclinations of these two people. These are publicly known NPP hardliners, persons who are irredeemably partisan, that if we accept them as members of the Electoral Commission, the whole institution will lose the little integrity and credibility it has left. Don't forget that as we speak, public confidence in the Electoral Commission is at an all-time low of 10%, according to the latest Afrobarometer survey. So what you need to do as a nation in times like this is to do the kind of things that engender public or increase public confidence in this institution, because the Electoral Commission plays a very vital role in our democracy. And so the Council of State, we think, should look at the evidence we have presented before them.
Okay.
Do you want somebody who has been an NPP communicator, a patron of the NPP wing at the University of Energy and Natural Resources since 2017? He has been a coalition officer for the NPP in the Bruno region. He's been training IT people for the NPP in the Bruno region and so on. Do you want this? It's like saying that Sammy Gyamfi should be appointed into the Electoral Commission as a member of the commission. It simply doesn't make sense. You see, you don't build institutions like that. You don't build democracies like that. And so we would want to believe that there are patriots in that Council of State, senior statesmen, who care about this country, they care about their legacy, and who do the right thing in the light of this new evidence that they might not have addressed their minds to at the time they were giving the advice. And we will have, great reprieve, great joy to know that in the light of this evidence, the Council of State has reconsidered its position on this matter. They have advised the president differently. Whether or not the president will agree with them is immaterial. Whether or not that will lead to the resignation of these two appointees is immaterial. But we believe that they purging themselves of this sacrilege alone at least preserve the integrity and the respect we all have for that revered council, the Council of State.
Okay.
And will also show to the citizenry and the international community that they are not a part of it, they don't support it, which for us will be the harbinger of the next activities that we want to embark on as a political party and demand the resignation of these partisan characters.
Very well. Thank you so much for speaking to us. That's Sammy Gyamfi, National Communications Officer of the NDC.